Hello guys, welcome back to a new video on my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something very interesting and something very controversial, and that is the idea that we should wait till we are successful in order to find a partner. I don't know whether this is true, I don't know. It's a very hard topic to really think about in depth because, it's very nuanced. It's shades of grey, and there are pros and cons for both approaches. Trying to find someone while you're on the come up, while you're building yourself, while you're trying to build something of substance and longevity. Finding someone that way and during that period of time can often be far more fulfilling, I think, because it's about the journey, not just about the destination. And think about it. If you have to get to the destination in order to attract that person, then are they really attracted by you, or are they attracted by what you have gained, by what you have amassed, by what you have built? And yeah, sure, people are going to be attracted by what you have built because you have built something meaningful and something successful if you do so. But you have to ask yourself whether that is conditional and whether they only like you because you have that thing, or they like you including the fact that you have that thing and that you have built that thing, and whether that is a sign of the person that you are to them or whether that is a sign of what they can get from you. It's very hard to tell. But I think the best relationships, and I think we can all probably agree on this, are the ones where two people go on a journey together. They both see and nurture the potential in one another and bring out the best in one another in a mutual journey to whatever the destination may be. I assume and I imagine that that would bring a lot more fulfillment than simply getting to the destination and then finding someone. But who knows? I'm sure there are successful and unsuccessful approaches we can take in both situations. But I think it's important to be patient in terms of looking for a partner, because the more desperate we are, the more impatient we are, the more we rush our choices. And when we rush our choices, we end up making bad ones. And so we shouldn't do that. But we also shouldn't delay it too much, because there's a certain point where it's going to be very hard for you to find something that you know is rock solid. That has to be demonstrated through time, and then you're actually rushing into something as well. Like, for example, if you leave the relationships and kind of looking for a partner until you're like 35, 40, when you've built a good career and when you've got some good things going on around you and you've built a life that you're actually pretty happy with and you're willing to welcome someone into that life, then what happens is you're kind of rushing things, you're kind of speed running the process. You'll be probably getting married quicker, having kids quicker, because you have less time at your disposal and you need to act quick. But then you can end up putting yourself in situations that if you'd have thought about more clearly and from a more patient mindset, then you would have probably thought twice about putting yourself into that situation. So I think it's about a balance. I think it's about, while you're building yourself, seeing if anybody is interested in what you're building and anybody does see your potential and you see the potential in that person and you really do see a future with that person. But just because you're both aligned in terms of what you want to build together and you both think it could be really good, that doesn't mean you need to necessarily stay with the person, because there might just be a lack of congruency and you might genuinely just have a lack of attraction to that person, which obviously is not sustainable in a long-term relationship. And so you have to ask yourself if you're willing to put up with that over the course of a long-term relationship. Are you willing to lower your standards for comfort just because it's better to be with someone than to be on your own? So yeah, I think it's something that ideally we meet someone along the way while we are building ourselves, while we are building something. We find someone who believes in us, we find someone who wants to go on this journey with us, and we find someone who we want to go on this journey with. But just because someone wants to go on this journey with you and because they see the potential in you doesn't mean you see it in them. And so there can be a lack of congruency in that aspect, and I've actually experienced that recently as well. But yeah, I think it can be done, like becoming successful, then searching for a partner. But I also think just because you're not successful and just because you're not in the position that you want to be in. You should refrain from dating or looking for a partner or entertaining that aspect of your life. Because, believe it or not, it is a very important aspect of our life, our relationships with other people. We're very social creatures, and we can only spend so much time truly alone before we actually go a bit insane, before we get a bit delusional, before we get a bit disoriented. So we do need regular contact with people, but that doesn't necessarily need to be in terms of a romantic relationship. A romantic relationship is a blessing, but it's also something we must sacrifice for, so we can't purely see it as a blessing. We must see it as something nuanced, something that takes time to build, something that takes sacrifices to maintain. But if we're not in a position to make those sacrifices, then we shouldn't sign ourselves up for it. But also, we shouldn't hold it back from ourselves simply because we're not yet to where we want to be. It's all about going on the journey with that other person. That's what it's all about. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where your memories are going to be. That's where your experience is going to be in the journey. And to be able to experience that with someone else by your side, someone else who believes in you, who loves you, and who cherishes you, must be an amazing thing. I think it is probably the best thing, although it is very hard to find. And so you shouldn't close that option off from yourself. You should pray for that, and you should keep your eyes open for potential opportunities. But you should also just keep your focus on moving forward and building what you want to build, regardless of what you gain as a result of that. Because it's like I said in another video, you don't want to chase butterflies, you want to build a garden, and then the butterflies will come to you. But then even if the butterflies don't come to you, you've still built your garden, which is your purpose, which is the thing you wanted to do anyway. And so you're going to get a lot of good things come from that, from simply building the garden, even if you don't get the desired result, attracting butterflies. And so on your way to building yourself, building your life, building what you want to build in this life, look for a partner to go on that journey with, but don't make compromises. Don't lower your standards for comfort, but also don't expect the finished product, because you're not yet the finished product. And so you can't expect that from somebody else. You need to look for somebody that you really want to go on a journey with. And that can be tremendously difficult to find, but it is possible if we keep our eyes open for opportunities and we be attentive to the world and the people around us. Maybe that blessing will not find you. Maybe you won't find that person, but it's best to keep your eyes and ears open and look for the opportunities, because then you can see them if they do come. And even if they don't come, you don't get moved off course by that. You don't get frustrated by that. You just keep moving forward and doing what you were set out on doing anyway. And you know that eventually someone is going to be attracted to you, whether it's at the point where you have built it or whether it's at the point where you are building it. I think we could all prefer finding someone in the process of building it and building something with that person. But if it's something real, then it's something real. It doesn't matter at what stage it occurs. And so we have to look for that firstly and foremostly and prioritize that above anything else. Something real, something meaningful, something honest, something true, and something oriented at the good for you and your partner, and potentially the family that you're creating as well. And so I just wanted to hop on here and talk about this, because it's something that's been on my mind recently, and I hope it was able to help you in any way. If it did, make sure you like and subscribe and share this video with someone you think might benefit from it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.